You've hit retirement age. And the truth is, you screwed up. You don't have much saved. You still owe on your house. The only thing you've got is maybe $70,000 in equity and your Social Security check. In the US, that means you're stuck. But what if I told you that that same situation could still buy you a safe, comfortable retirement in Colombia? Hey guys, I'm Matt, the Americano, and I help people figure out how to actually make the move abroad. If you've ever thought, I can't afford to retire, this video is for you. I'll walk you through exactly what life could look like if you sell your house, invest the equity, and live off of Social Security in Colombia. From costs to visas to healthcare. Hit subscribe and grab my free expat checklist at the passport. It's free, the link's in the description below. It'll help you plan every step of your move. And before we get started, I've had the opportunity and pleasure to have coffees or dinners with a few of my viewers whom I now get to call my friends. I'm thinking of maybe anyone in Bogotá meeting for lunch or dinner as a group on October 18th. I'll organize a restaurant that can accommodate us. Maybe it's Medellín or Walk. If you have an interest, I put an RSVP link in the description so I can get a head count. The only cost you would have is paying for your own meal and drinks. There's no other costs. Just a chance for fellow expats to meet. Let's start with the reality. You didn't save much for retirement. You still owe money on your house, but if you sold it today, you'd probably clear about $70,000 in equity. You don't have a 401k. You don't have a big IRA. Hell, you don't even really have a savings account. And you're looking at Social Security as your main source of income. You may not even be able to survive making the house payment with your Social Security, and you're thinking that you'll have to work until you're 75 to pay the damn thing off. Now in the US, that's a pretty grim picture. $70,000 won't get you far, and the average Social Security check, about $1,800 a month, barely covers rent in most cities. But here's the good news. When you take that exact same financial situation and move it to Colombia, it actually works. In fact, it can work better. It can give you a comfortable middle-class lifestyle. So you've sold the house and you're sitting on about $70,000 in equity. The big question is, what do you do with it? Because if you just leave it sitting in a checking account, inflation eats it alive. The goal here is to make that money work for you, ideally generating income without touching the principal. Buy an annuity with a lifetime payout, which will keep you tax-free in Colombia. You'll end up with an extra $450-ish per month. One conservative approach is putting it into dividend-focused ETFs like SCHD or VYM. They throw off around 3 to 4% annually, which on $70,000 is about $2,100 to $2,800 a year, or roughly $180 to $230 a month. That may not sound like much, but combined with Social Security, it's a solid top-up. Another option is short-term US Treasuries or CDs. Right now, yields hover around 4 to 5%, safer but less growth long-term. You're basically trading upside for stability. Now, you might be thinking, what about the S&P 500? Historically, it's returned about 7 to 10% per year after inflation. But here's the catch. That's long-term growth, not guaranteed income. The S&P doesn't pay much in dividends, about 1.4% yield, which is less than $100 a month on $70,000. If you're 30, S&P growth makes sense. But if you're at retirement age and need monthly cash flow, it's risky to rely on the stock market alone. You can't pay rent with unrealized gains. Another path is buying a small apartment in Colombia or Mexico and renting it out. A $70,000 unit could end up netting you $300 to $400 a month in rent. That's not passive like dividends, but it's an option for people who want something tangible. The goal isn't to gamble your last $70,000. It's to turn it into reliable cash flow that supplements Social Security. Think of it as your monthly bonus check to cover food, healthcare, or a little extra travel. Now let's layer in the big piece of this puzzle, Social Security. The average monthly benefit is about $1,800. Some people get more, some less, but let's use that as our baseline. In the States, $1,800 barely covers rent in most cities. Add utilities, food, and healthcare, you're already upside down before you even think about travel, entertainment, or emergencies. In Colombia, $1,800 is a completely different story. That covers your rent, utilities, food, healthcare, and you still have money left over for fun. Now add another $200 to $300 a month from the investments we talked about, and you're living on $2,000 to $2,100 a month. In Medellin, that means a modern 1 to 2 bedroom apartment in a safe neighborhood, eating out multiple times a week, healthcare that's actually affordable, and enough left for travel around the country. Social Security might not stretch in the US, but in Colombia, it's the foundation of a solid, comfortable lifestyle. All right, let's break down what life actually costs in Colombia, because this is where the numbers really start to make sense. Apartments in Colombia can be shockingly affordable. In Medellin or Bogotá, you can find simple one-bedrooms for as low as $250 a month. A nice modern one-bedroom in a good neighborhood, $400 to $600. Even a two-bedroom in a luxury building with a doorman and a gym might only set you back $700 to $900. I'm in a penthouse in one of the nicest neighborhoods in Bogotá, and I pay $850, and I have a 3-bedroom. So you can really stretch this far. Utilities and internet. Expect around $80 to $120 a month total for electricity, water, gas, and high-speed internet. That's what some people in the US pay just for Wi-Fi. Then there's groceries. A normal grocery budget is $200 to $300 a month for one person. Lots of fresh fruit, vegetables, and meat at local prices. Imported goods cost more, but day-to-day food is cheap and high quality. Then there's eating out. A menu of the day lunch is $3 to $5, and a dinner at a mid-range restaurant is $8 to $12. Even at higher-end spots, it's often half of what you'd pay in the United States. Healthcare, private insurance is often $60 to $100 per month, and a specialist visit is $40 to $60 cash. Big procedures and medications are dramatically cheaper than in the US. Then there's the lifestyles and extras. Public transport is under $1 a ride. Taxis and Ubers are cheap, and domestic flights are affordable, often $30 to $60 to hop between major cities. The bottom line, with around $1,500 to $1,700 a month, you're living comfortably. At $2,000 to $2,200 a month, which is what our Social Security plus small investment income gives you, you're living a solid middle-class lifestyle with room for travel and extras. One of the biggest fears about retiring abroad is what happens if I get sick. Well, here's where Colombia really shines. According to the World Health Organization's last full report, Colombia ranked number 22 in the world for healthcare, ahead of the United States, which ranked at number 37. That is not a typo. Colombia's healthcare system consistently gets high marks for both quality and access. Private hospitals in Medellin and Bogotá are modern, internationally accredited, and affordable. A specialist visit is usually $40 to $60 cash, and MRI runs $300 to $400. Even major surgeries can cost 60% to 80% less than in the US. Expats often take out private insurance for $60 to $100 a month, which covers hospital stays and bigger procedures. It's a fraction of what retirees pay for Medicare premiums or U.S. supplemental insurance. Colombia is actually a medical tourism hub. People fly in for cosmetic surgery, dental care, bariatric surgery, and more because the quality is high and the prices are low. Healthcare isn't just cheaper in Colombia, it's higher quality and accessible. For retirees, that peace of mind is priceless. There's a growing expat community, plenty of chances to practice Spanish, and a warm social culture where people are quick to make friends. Life feels slower, friendlier, and less stressful than the grind you left behind. On $2,000 a month in the US, you're scraping by. On $2,000 a month in Colombia, you're living a solid, comfortable, middle-class lifestyle, and maybe for the first time in your life, you can breathe easy. All right, let's talk visas, because if you want to stay in Colombia long-term, you'll need more than just a tourist stamp. Colombia has a M11 retirement visa that makes it pretty easy for retirees. To qualify, you need to show a stable monthly pension income of at least 3 times the Colombian minimum wage, which we're going to call for 2025 around $1,100 a month. And since the average Social Security check is about $1,800, you qualify right out of the gate. The retirement visa is usually valid for 1 to 3 years, and it's renewable. After 5 years of holding M visas, you can apply for permanent residency and eventually even citizenship if you want it. So what counts as pension income? Well, U.S. Social Security checks absolutely count. Other pensions and annuities can qualify too, as long as they're documented and consistent. You'll need proof of income, social security statements, an apostilled birth certificate, and a recent FBI background check. It's paperwork, but it's very doable. If you're living on social security, Colombia's retirement visa is practically designed for you. It's straightforward, affordable, and it gives you a clear path to long-term residency. So here's the bottom line. Even if you feel like you've screwed up your retirement, you didn't save enough, you still owe on your house, you're not out of options. By selling, investing that equity smartly, and living on your social security in Colombia, you can still retire with dignity, comfort, and even a little fun. And if you're serious about planning a move, I have a free email newsletter called The Passport, where you can basically get a free expat checklist for free. It walks you through the exact steps to get you started so you don't miss anything important. The link's in the description below. I'm Matt, the Americano. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. I've had the opportunity and pleasure to have coffees or dinners with a few of my viewers, whom I now get to call my friends. I'm thinking of maybe anyone in Bogotá meeting for lunch or dinner as a group on October 18th. I'll organize a restaurant that can accommodate us. Maybe it's Medellín or Wok. If you have an interest, I put an RSVP link in the description so I can get a head count. The only cost you would have is paying for your own meal and drinks. There's no other costs. Just a chance for fellow expats to meet.